listener production.
Hey, Bension Seabit here with The Briefing. Running is really hot right now. Whether it's run clubs at every major park across the country, every 30-something-year-old signing up to a half marathon, or hundreds pounding the pavement individually every Sunday morning, running is having a real cultural moment. Global studies have showed that running increased during and since the COVID-19 pandemic, but what's behind the sudden boom in 2024? Run clubs have gone viral across social media, and sharing your run using tools like the Strava app has become an essential part of many people's running routine. And Gen Z is the most social when it comes to exercise, being 29% more likely than millennials to work out with another person. Katie Williams is a former Australian Athlete of the Year and World Champion sprinter with 6 gold medals and a Bachelor of Sports and Exercise Management under her belt. So safe to say she knows a fair bit about running and has watched its popularity explode in recent years. She joined The Briefing's Helen Smith to explore the craze. Helen started by asking what attracted her to running as a career in the first place.
I don't actually think I chose it. I think that I was born with speed. And when I was young, my mum would say to me, you would just sprint everywhere. I was walking at 9 months. She put me in gymnastics from 2.5 onwards. And she was like, you were just a born sprinter. It was just in you. I remember my mum asking me when I was about 6 years old whether or not I wanted to do little athletics or gymnastics. So I guess I did pick it, but I do think I was just born with speed, which is a blessing, but
it's a blessing.
It is a blessing, yeah. I mean, I still have to train to keep fit, but I think people are born with speed. You can improve it, definitely, but you can't completely teach it. It's definitely in your anatomy.
So it sounds like you were just a natural born athlete. So why do you think...
I did train a lot. I had to.
Yeah. So why do you think that run clubs are becoming so popular right now?
I think during the pandemic, because we were locked down, people had to get creative, and running is a free and accessible activity that most people can do, whether you've got the grass, the beach, an oval near you or a running track or road running. It's accessible and it's near you. Plus all the gyms were closed, so people had to get creative. Also, it's a recession. So I think now the rise in running, which I think is the best thing that's happened to us, is because people are spending less money and because of COVID. If there's one benefit from COVID, it's that people are running.
We've been seeing that millennials and Gen Z have really been into it. What role has social media played into these boom of run clubs?
Social media has played the biggest role. We wouldn't know how many people were running if it wasn't for TikTok and Instagram or Facebook. I think now so many people are posting about running because there's such a big community movement and there's so much support. Anyone that's learning to run or joining a run club is celebrated, and I think that is phenomenal. If you're out there and you're learning to run or you're wanting to run, start following people that are on the same journey as you. They can be beginners or advanced. It's inspiring to follow people that are doing something for themselves, and we can also learn off everyone on social media, obviously, if it's the right kind of content.
There is, though, this kind of widespread belief that running can be bad for us, particularly stress on the knees and hips. Is this true?
Yes, it is true. Running is amazing for you. It's amazing for your cardiovascular system. It's amazing to build strength. It's amazing to clear your head. I mean, if you're a runner or anyone who's listening has experienced runner's high, it's a real thing. You get this massive rush of endorphins, but there is a level of precaution you need to take when learning to run or to do specific distances, particularly on the road. For me, I think it's really important to warm up, to cool down, to stretch, to get massage, to see a physio. You actually have to treat your body like you're an athlete when you're joining a run club or you're starting to run. If you're choosing distances that are particularly tough for you, if you haven't run 3K, 5K, or even 1K, you actually can't throw yourself into the deep end because when you run, you put a lot of load through your body. So as a sprinter, I know this to be true for sprinting, that it's 7 times your body weight when running goes through the ball of your foot, your ankles, your knees, and your hips. So the load starts at your feet and travels up your body. So if you're getting sore knees, maybe your IT bands are really tight and your body's not used to that load.
What are the best ways to prevent injuries from running?
I think you need to prep your body for running. And when I say prep your body, I love that everyone is out road running. I think that's amazing. But road running is very hard on the body. You need to make sure that you're running in really supportive shoes. Anyone who's new to running should definitely go into a running store, get their foot assessed, check out the arch, check out if they pronate. They will be assessed by a professional who will give them a running shoe that suits their body. That's really important. Number 1 is the correct running shoes. Number 2 is you need to pick your terrain. So everyone is going for the hardest terrain known to man, which is concrete. Don't get me wrong, I love a road run. I love it. But my body, with 25 years of running, still struggles on the road. So if you're struggling with an injury or you're getting lots of soreness in your hips, joints, ankles, it's just because your body's not used to the load that you're putting through it. It's actually normal to have some soreness. You should not be in excruciating pain, definitely. But it is normal to have a few weeks of kind of like a bit achy, as long as it's not debilitating. And unfortunately, you're the only one that can know that. To get you prepped for running, you should definitely start off by doing grass running. This is really important. The road running is too much load if you've not run before. So running on the grass or like fake grass is amazing. I was going to say running on the sand, but walking on the sand is better because it strengthens your ligaments in your ankles. It also strengthens all of the muscles in your feet, because when you run, the muscles in your feet are copying it. It starts on your feet and it travels up your body. One more thing I'll say is if you're new to running, just do a little session with a physio first. Just get the physio to have a look at your running technique, because they might say, hey, your knees are kind of buckling in when you're running, or you might need to strengthen your glutes. It's really important when running or beginning to run just to do an assessment to see how your body is. Because I see so many runners run past me and I think, oh my God, you're gonna tear your calf in a few weeks, or you're gonna have an Achilles blow up. And I did the same thing when I started long distance running as a sprinter. I was bouncing, doing these long runs, bouncing. Like, that's not the right running technique for long runs. And I've had to really change my running technique so that I don't have calf issues and Achilles issues. So it's just these small little nuances that I think if you were to treat your body or treat running like you're preparing as an athlete, that's brilliant.
Yeah, those are great tips. I'm learning a lot too. But I also wanted to say on that, the nutrition side of it, because I've been seeing a lot of videos on social media about running and buy these shoes, do this. But I haven't been seeing a lot of the nutrition side, which is so important for fueling your body if you are preparing for a 5, 10 or even like a marathon. How would you go about that?
Depending on your goal and depending on how many calories you're burning in those training sessions, will you need extra carbs? So for the long runs, like the halves and the marathons, you definitely need to carb load for those longer runs. And you also need to take gels. Gels are like those glucose packs. If you're doing shorter distances, say 5, 10K, I personally don't think you need to carb load. I think moderate carb is fine, like say 50% of your daily calories could come from carbs. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just going to flag that. But when I prepare for a run, there's a few things that I do. In the days lead up, I'll make sure that I'm eating really whole foods. I actually don't take any pre-workout. The only pre-workout I have is coffee. I think it's really important to time your food. I don't like running on a full stomach, but if you are doing a long run, it is important that you are fueled. So when you eat carbohydrates, it's turned to glucose, and the glucose goes into your muscles, is stored as glycogen, and that glycogen fuels your workout. So you definitely need carbohydrates. It's really important that you also have protein after your workout. So you can have it pre as well, but post is the most important. So for me, post run, the best thing that I like to do to easily digest the macronutrients is I'll do a protein smoothie, but I'll have oats in it, and I'll have banana, and I'll have peanut butter for good fats and protein powder. You can chuck in some hemp seeds as well. But I'm not a big believer in crazy supplementation. The one thing that I think is really important is hydration. You can add Celtic salt into your water, or I really like Liquid IV. Liquid IV is a hydration drink. It's actually new to Australia. It's massive in America. It's the number one hydration drink. And that's got heaps of vitamins and minerals, but it's also got all the electrolytes you need. So you think you're hydrating with water, but you actually need the minerals and the magnesium to help absorb it into your cells. So hydration would be the number one, and the correct fuel would be number two, I reckon.
How about motivation? How do you stick with it? And if you want to be building up your distances, if you're just starting and you're getting there, but it's getting hard, because it does start to get harder as you build up. How do you stay motivated?
I'm going to go straight to the basics. I think number one is buy some running gear, because you just feel amazing when you've got new clothes, you feel good, you're comfortable. I think the biggest thing with running, particularly if you're running for say an hour or 45 minutes, it can get boring and things niggle away at you. So if you've got tights that are riding up your bum, or if you've got shoes that are uncomfortable, you want to make sure that you're running and you're feeling your hands free. Get a little running belt, put your phone in, create a playlist, get headphones that are comfortable. And I'm not having to stop and skip songs. I've got my notifications off. I'm strictly focusing on that run. I think another way to be motivated is to run with someone. You can call it an accountability buddy or an accountability partner. You can also join a run club. That's an amazing way to have a community that you show up for. And also the biggest thing is to have a training schedule. It needs to be flexible. You don't need to create this training schedule and stick to every single day. You need to listen to your body and make sure that you're resting. But having a flexible schedule is important.
And one last question.
Yeah.
Are run clubs the new dating app?
I love this. I love this so much. I wish that I knew this. Like, I actually met my partner at a party and we're engaged. So, but I think that meeting someone who is like-minded, who's healthy, who's interested in community and accountability and wants to be in a supportive environment, how could you not want to meet someone at Run Club? Like, it seems like you've got really similar values if you're getting up on a, Friday morning at 6 a.m. to run with a bunch of people. So I think it's amazing. They need to create an app for it. That's what I say.
Katie Williams, former Australian Athlete of the Year and World Champion Sprinter, joining Helen Smith there. That's it for the briefing this afternoon, but before you go, if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your entire run club, or maybe just a friend. And in case you missed it, you can now watch interviews from the briefing team on YouTube. If you're keen to see chats from guests including Boy, Scott Morrison, Abby Chatfield, and more, jump on YouTube, search Listener Newsroom and hit subscribe. The team will be back in your feed tomorrow from 6 a.m. I'm Ben Sion-Siebert. Chat to you next time.
Listener.